If you have fine, thin hair like me that lacks life and you want to add volume to it, but you don't have an hour to style it, keep watching. I'm going to show you some tips and tricks that I use every single day to make my hair go from this to this. You only need minimal tools for this. You need a wide tooth comb. You can easily find that at Walmart. You need regular gator clips. That's what I call them, at least. You need a rat tail comb for teasing, and you also need a brush. The main ingredient for today is going to be Boosting Spray Foam by Kenra. You do not have to use this spray foam, but you're going to need something at your root. I'll also link a dupe in the description below. The other two products we're going to be using is a heat protectant. This is my favorite one. It's called Flexible Style Hot Off the Press by Paul Mitchell. And the other is some type of texture spray. I'll link this one below, but you can use any from any store. So if you're ready to find out how to put some life back in your hair, we're going to get started. So the first thing you're going to need is some type of bottle. You're going to need to wet down your hair. It doesn't really matter what you use. It just needs to spray directly onto your roots. As you can see, I parted my hair horizontally, and I'm just going to keep doing that all the way down in sections until I'm satisfied with how wet my hair gets at the root. Now while you're doing this, just make sure that you're not really wetting your mids to ends. We're going to end up blow drying this, but it's going to take a lot more time if you continually wet your hair down. Once you get to the back, you're going to lift that section up. You don't really need to go too far down because that's going to lay right over top of it anyways. Okay, so once we're all wet and ready to go, then we're going to get started, and you're going to need your wide tooth comb and comb that all the way through so you're satisfied that you don't have any knots. After I did this, I definitely had some knots, so I had to keep brushing. The next thing you're going to need is either mousse or the boosting spray like I showed you. You're going to spray that directly onto your hand, and then you're going to rub it in, and then you're going to rub it in right into your roots. Now you don't want to spray directly onto your roots, A, because if you have a sensitive scalp, it's going to irritate it throughout the day, and then B, because it'll just be way too much product build up. As you can see, I just continue to go all the way down my head right in the front. I'm kind of trying to concentrate that mostly about 2 inches away from my root and rubbing it in pretty good. And once you get to the back, you're going to pretty much do the same thing. You're going to lift up those sections, just make sure you get it in there really well, especially right there at the crown. And then you're going to start brushing it through. You always want to make sure you brush any product through. You want it evenly distributed throughout your hair. Now you're going to take your blow dryer and you're going to make sure your heat setting is on low or medium heat. Remember, the rest of your hair is dry, so you don't really need that much heat on your head. So what I'm doing here is basically taking all of the sections that are on the opposite side of my head and making sure I blow that on the opposite side. So if my hair naturally lays on the left side of my head, I'm going to blow that section to the right. A, because it's going to create volume, and B, it's going to make sure it's going to be smooth still at the root. You don't really want to cause too much frizz. Now you'll see me taking my brush. I like to lift the hair up also while I'm blow drying, just because it helps get dry faster. You don't have to do this. I'm, used to doing hair, so this is just easy for me. If it's not easy for you, feel free to dry it however you need to do it. Okay, now we're just taking that section, we're gonna brush it through, and we're gonna find our part because we're about to tease the hair. Once you get it all thoroughly brushed through, you can see my root area is actually already starting to lift without really even doing much to it. And side note, if you have an area in the back of your head like I do, when I wake up in the morning it already parts right there, you can do this same exact technique to get rid of the part in the back of your head. So now you're going to use your you're going to use your rat tail comb, and you're going to start sectioning to tease your hair. For the crown of my head, I'm actually going to clip that back. I don't want any stray hairs to get caught in the crown because it just ends up looking weird at the end. So the first section that you do, you want to make sure that you leave one small, very thin section as a veil that will lay over the rest of your teased hair. That way it's not going to look super crazy. You're going to take those horizontal sections and then you're going to take your comb. You're going to only go a couple inches up and you're going to firmly go straight down. You don't need to go too crazy with this. Not only that, you don't want to cause damage by teasing either. Then you're going to take your finishing spray and you're going to spray each section that you tease. You only need a couple of spritzes, nothing too crazy. Again, you're going to take that section. You can see through that section, it's not too big. You're going to take it and you're going to go straight down with it. And then continue that on both sides of your head. Once you get to the smaller sections, you can see where my hair starts thinning right there. I just go directly underneath it and I spray. Once I get to the other side of my head, this is kind of where my hair starts to get pretty thin. You'll see almost a bald spot right in the front, and that's why I always will have a side part. But besides the point, you're going to want to get another veil to lay directly over those sections. I am right-handed, so I am doing this actually the opposite way, but it doesn't really matter. You're going to do the same technique. Okay, so once you get to the crown of your head, you're going to do the same thing, but you're going to try to make sure that your veil or the first section that you're taking is pretty straight. You don't want anything too crooked or else it's going to make the top of your head crooked. And then you're going to clip it away just so we don't catch it in there. Now you see the size of my section, it's very thin. You don't need to be using a very thick section right here, because if you do, you're going to get a really weird shape to the top of your head. You're going to continue spraying in the exact same way all through the crown of your head. Then you're going to take your brush and you're going to lightly, very lightly brush through this. I do this for a pretty good amount of time because I don't want to brush out all of the hard work that I just did. It does look a little bit crazy, but... Okay, so we're going to take our hot off the press because what we're going to do is style the hair. Now, I do have naturally straight hair, but it did not look finished. So what we're going to do is straighten it, and I'm going to show you how I bevel the ends to mimic a blow dry. You're going to take your clip and then you're going to do the first section. It can be pretty big if you have straight hair, pretty much right at the top of your ears. And then you'll just clip that up. Okay, so what we're going to do now is take each section and we're going to put the hot off the press on there as well, because I sprayed the top of my head but I didn't get the underneath. And then we're also going to take our straightener, we're going to do one pass through, and then we're going to bevel the ends just like I did there. You don't need to do anything crazy, it should go through smooth just like that. But if you do get stuck, just make sure you go right back through. Then we're going to do the next section. Like I said, I don't have very thick hair, so I literally only do this in 3 sections. If you have trouble with your hair laying over like I do, I just take the ends and I wrap it around that clip and then leave it just like that. So now I'm just trying to find those sections that I need to do. Like I said, you're gonna do one pass through and then you're gonna do another one where you slightly curve it at the ends to get that bevel. Try not to brush through it too much. This is the end result. As you can see, I have enough volume at the crown and the top of my head that I am comfortable with. If you want more volume, obviously you can do a little bit more teasing. This is the perfect way to add volume to your hair if you have fine, thin hair, but you don't have time to do an hour's worth of blow drying. If you want to know what products I use, they'll be linked in the description below. Other than that, thank you guys for watching and I'll see you next time.